You're listening to WOSD. I'm your host, Layla Palmer, from the OSD Marketing, Communications, and Events Unit. Thank you for joining us for another installment of WOSD News. In this episode, we will hear from former Assistant Secretary for Operational Services, Gary Lambert, who recently retired from his role at OSD. Gary will share information on his tenure in state government and share some words of wisdom to remaining staff at the organization. Gary Lambert has been OSD's fearless leader for a long time, but for those who may be unfamiliar with him, this episode will be your crash course on his career in state government and his impact on OSD throughout the years.
I'm Gary Lambert. I'm the Assistant Secretary here at the Operational Services Division for a little bit more time. Just by way of background for folks who don't know me, I actually started my career in government in 1980 and went off to the private sector in 1999 and came back to government in this job in March of 2011. So I've been back almost 14 years running OSD. It's been a blast. I don't know many people who can say that they've been the head of an organization for almost 14 consecutive years. And we got a lot done. We've seen a lot, we've been through a lot, we've done a lot.
Shortly after announcing his departure from the agency, I sat down with Gary to learn more about his journey at the Operational Services Division, which started back in the 90s. Let's hear how his role and OSD have evolved since then.
So I'm actually going to go back to that first time around because I think that set the table for a lot of what happened when I came back in 2011 till now. If you go back to like 1997, we completely overhauled all of the procurement regulations and rules and processes and policies, and we took a lot of the bureaucracy out of all of that. For example, we had probably 25 pages of regulations down to 8. We had multiple standard contract forms. We got it down to 1 2-page contract. We also, back in 97, 98, did a pilot called the Multi-State EMAL. Now, in 1997, no one was sure whether the internet was going to take off or flop. And we, instead of using traditional methods, did this pilot using the internet platform and internet technology at the time. That set the stage too for when I came back in 2011, because procurement reform became procurement norm, and the multi-state EMAL pilot proved itself but didn't move forward past that. But what we did do is we started the procurement for combis. And what we did have happen on time, on budget, was the implementation of combis in March of 2014. So we're just about 11 years into the use of combis as an enterprise solution. Matter of fact, we're at the point now where we are doing a new procurement because our 15-year contract is going to come to an end in a couple of years. And whether we continue with the same partner or whether we pick a new solution is yet to be determined. But the maturity of that over 10 years has shown the value of having a centralized system to manage procurement across the executive branch and to offer it as an opportunity at the local level. So there's a lot in that. And then if you just look at us organizationally, when I came back, this agency was roughly 65 people. Annual revenue and income was about $6.5 million. Right now we're at about 150 staff, and that's after roughly 15 to 20 staff moved over to become an independent agency called the Supplier Diversity Office, which was part of this agency. So if you think about it, we went from 65 to 150. If you really tacked on those, we'll call it 15 people from Supplier Diversity Office, we'd be at 165 staff today. That goes to show our growth over the years. So there's all of that. And then there's just cultural change, and there's focus on being creative and the opportunity to fail, because we learn so much from what we fail at, and we use those lessons to build something even better after. So there's all of that wrapped into this.
I think a lot of people here see you as a leader, a motivator, an inspiration to, push forward in the organization. And given all of these changes that have happened throughout the years, how have you as a leader had to adapt to meet those changing needs?
A lot of it isn't adapting. A lot of it is promoting culture, right? People have been unique since the beginning of time. People in the workplace have been unique since the beginning of their careers. It's really helping people to understand what the culture of the organization is. And it's really helping people to understand what it is so that they can make a decision about, is this a place I want to be? And it's a question of knowing when people are feeling challenged, when to have the right conversation about what is it. Not every place is right for every person. And it's a hard conversation and it's a hard lesson. Like over the last 13 plus years, I've said on a number of occasions, you need to be happy here. And if you're not, you really should find somewhere else to be. The message is, you need to enjoy what you do, because if you don't, then you're not going to be as productive as you can be. You're not going to shine at what you do, and you're not going to necessarily be comfortable being here doing what you do. So find something that is your passion. Take a look around and see what's there that's going to make you a better employee, make you a happier person, make you a more engaging person with your friends on the outside, your peers on the inside. And I think that's a lot of it.
Looking back on his time at OSD, Gary shared insightful anecdotes about the value of face-to-face interactions in the workplace. He reflected on the countless impromptu conversations he's had with colleagues over the years and emphasized how these moments of connection help foster collaboration, camaraderie, and a sense of belonging in the workplace.
I really, truly believe that human interaction in person can create much more vision, much more opportunity, and much more productivity than being on a screen all day. Maybe this is old school, but for me, leaning over the cubicle wall and just going, hey, you look like you have a minute. Can we talk about this? And solving something in 5 minutes that would take me 10 minutes to set up a Teams call, another 5 or 10 minutes to try to explain what's going on, hopefully having the right people on that conversation, or having it overpopulated because the person I really want to talk to just forwarded the meeting invite to 6 other people because they really weren't sure if they needed all of these other people. So we've just tied up a lot of people for something that could have been done over the cubicle wall in 5 minutes. And how do I get to know people, right? Part of trying to shape a culture is getting to know people. How do I get to know people if all I do is see them on a screen for a meeting and I don't bump into them anywhere and I don't have a chance to say, gee, it's cold out, it's freezing out this morning, how'd you do getting in? As opposed to, okay, look, the meeting started, it's right now, there's no social interaction, let's do it. Oh, we all have to run because we have the next one right behind it, and so on. So, I think it's really more that. And it's today more than ever trying to get people to understand the value of being with people. Not intentionally, but I think we're losing opportunity. But in general, it was the impromptu stuff. The, hey, anyone want to go out after work for drinks, dinner? Anyone want to go for a walk at lunch? And it created that social interaction, and it created a sense of camaraderie and, dare I say, a sense of belonging to here.
Next, I asked Gary to share some final words of encouragement for the remaining staff at OSD.
Yeah, I would say be creative, think creatively, don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to try things. Think about where you want to get to, when you want to get there, and how you're going to do it, and see how you do, and share that. If you did great, share that. If you did okay, share that just so people know where we are. If you didn't do so great, share that and go, here's the lessons learned off of this. Be happy with what you do. Do things that you're going to feel proud about, and embrace others and work with others and share ideas with others, because out of that's going to come some great results.
Now, Gary is off to a new chapter in his life, retirement. All of us here at OSD are thrilled for Gary to embark on this journey, and the timing couldn't be better.
Everyone I've told I'm retiring says, I don't really see you retired. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I am excited about retiring. I'm excited on a number of levels because I really do believe that we, OSD, are set up to move forward on lots of things and succeed. We're set up to develop the next Combis solicitation for the solution. We just finished the master plan for fleet electrification, so now there's a blueprint for how to get there. And we have been expanding the compliance program to ensure that we get stronger across the enterprise with procurement and maintaining the spirit and intent of the procurement rules and regulations and whatnot. We're in a good place organizationally with the transition to category management instead of statewide contract management. So all of those things are in place and moving forward. So if there was ever the right time to step back and let others put their stamp on how we're going to get from where we are today to there, I think now's the time.
This concludes today's episode of WOSD News. Thank you to Gary Lambert for joining us today and for your many years of dedicated service in state government. We at OSD sincerely appreciate your contributions and wish you all the best in your retirement. OSD looks forward to engaging with you on our social media and YouTube channels. Links to those are in the description box. To suggest ideas for future podcasts, email the OSD team at osdoutreach@mass.gov. This podcast was produced, audio engineered, and edited by me, Layla Palmer. Thank you for joining us.